Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. And so today we have a very special video. Today we just wrapped up LCS 6, and so first off, I want to give a shout out to those guys over at Luxury Gaming, and Honey and those guys for such a great event, especially one where you have such different people from all over the world just playing together in a game we all love. So if you haven't already, leave a like and subscribe. I'll go ahead and showcase some of my game threes because I played a lot of game threes during the whole event, and I'll show my deck profile at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Or if you just want to go ahead and skip ahead, feel free to do so, but please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot knowing this channel is growing, and I want to go ahead and continue to make it grow, so please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And so we'll go ahead and show some of my game threes. So before we get into this match, I want to showcase my matchup. So I had 2-1 in Chernobyl round 1, so I won that. Lost to Dinos round 2. Played the Plunder Patrol player that played against Pac in round 1 game in round 3. Played Guru round 4, which was really close. 2-1. Dino again round 5 2-1, and Dragon 2-1. Then I lost, unfortunately, the next 2 games for day 2, which didn't let me get into top cut. So that was Dragon Link and some DD LH Rocket Smorgasbord Clusterfuck, however you want to say it. It was just those 3 engines thrown into a 60 card deck and somehow worked. Anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into these replays. Again, these are all going to be game threes. So first off, we have the match against Plunder Patrol. So I'm going to go ahead and order by round. I start with the Foolish Burial, setting Skomata to get Rush in the graveyard. Use Fusion to go ahead and make my Abcalone. Go ahead and get Beast. So I flip up Beast. Go ahead and draw 2 cards. I go ahead and get rid of the Ecclesia in this case because I won't need it. Normal summon the A-lister, get my Invocation. I go ahead and make Mechaba first before doing anything else, because you never know. Go ahead and make Ictal Verte Anaconda. Get Schism. Pitch the Impermanence because I do have Schism and A-lister as a follow-up for the next turn. And I have Dragoon. So my end board was Dragoon, Mechaba, Schism for Winda, and Verte Anaconda. I don't shotgun this because I don't know what he possibly could have, and he did show that he did run droplets in the previous game, so I was afraid of just shotgunning that the whole time. And honestly, looking at his hand, if I would have shotgunned it after he attempted to just declare the special summon, I probably would have been fine, but because of that insecurity there, you never know, so you have to be cautious. So I go ahead and get rid of the Dragoon just so he doesn't take it. Make my Winda. He still has to take a card, so he gets a Mechaba. So he attacks into my Winda. I get back the Fusion. And then he goes ahead and links into a Blackbeard the hard way, just so he can get rid of my Mechaba. Sets a card and passes it, and as you can see, it was a droplet. So I go ahead and Fusion. He goes ahead and makes my Shaddoll Fusion dead by getting rid of his Blackbeard by negating my Verte Anaconda, which is fine. Use Schism. I go ahead and make construct, get hedgehog, so I can get a Wendy, make the link A-lister, and I get back to Shaddoll Fusion, so I'm just making a follow-up play for the next turn. So here I have an Imperp and Schism, so I still have access to a window. I have Fusion and Wendy, and with the A-lister link, I could trigger Wendy if I want, but I'm actually thinking about holding it because I want my Shaddoll Fusion to go ahead and get rid of the cards out of my deck, and I want to keep it live. So here, I go ahead and make a window, one of these specials. I got my Invocation. He does get rid of my window, but I'm not too dissatisfied. I go ahead and imperm the Blackbeard after this, just so he doesn't get any additional effects. But because I still have my A-lister, I'm not too worried about it. So here I start off by using Invocation. He banishes the A-lister on field, which was fine by me because I still had the one from graveyard. So make Aguitas. I hold off on everything involving the special summon. So I go ahead and make a construct, getting rid of the Goldenair and 2 Whitebeard. So that way it takes away some of his engine. So I get back the A-lister to hand. Get rid of a card from his hand. Normal summon the A-lister, get the Invocation again. He decides to link. I use Agui's effect baits to bait it out. He negates it. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and try and go for game. Make Almirage. Make it to Garna. Invocation into the Purgatrio. And honestly, he helped me get enough damage by putting this on board because it gave me the extra attack. If it wasn't for that, I would have probably been short by a few hundred. So I go ahead and attack. And from here, I'm just going to go ahead and win the game because I have enough damage on board. Anyways, that was round 3. This round 4 match was something else. So as you can see, I opened up Gamma and 2 Imperm along with an A-lister and a Wendy. Starts off with the Extravagance, perfectly fine, draws 2. He is running Ice Dragon Prison in the main, so that really did catch me off guard in the previous game. So here he goes for Guru. I Gamma it. Don't want to have it on board. So I go ahead and just go for a turn. I summon A-lister, he strikes it. Perfectly fine. So I drew the 3rd Imperm, so I just set all 3 of them. Here he just wants to go ahead and find a way to get into a better card. So he goes for the Ice Dragon Prison. Summons out the Red Eyes Wyvern, and that way he just gets 28 in first, and then he goes into Verte Anaconda. So here he gets rid of 1 Red Eyes Fusion. I go ahead and Imperm it. Fine. I draw into Beast, unfortunately, so I just go ahead and set 1D pass, but I still do have 2 Imperm. So here he just goes for Verte again. I Imperm it again. And then he just goes into the Celine, tries to get the counters, but I Imperm it. He ashes the 1D because there is a flip effect and it's not in damage yet. So I just draw Ash and pass. He sets another Ice Dragon Prison, which got really annoying at one point. So here I draw Shaddoll Fusion. I send Dragon and Wendy to go ahead and make Abkalon. I target what his newest set was, and it was the Ice Dragon Prison, so he does trigger, but I go ahead and use Abkalon to negate the Hidden City. And so I do get the Hedgehog on the field, which does give me some line of plays for next turn. And here he activates another Extravagance. So I do have the Ash, but keep in mind he only has 1 card in his extra deck. So he goes into battle. I flip up Hedgehog, I draw Shaddoll Fusion, thankfully. So next turn, I draw the Droplets. Shaddoll Fusion, he doesn't have anything. And this was an infinite permanence that he will be using in a moment. So here he goes ahead and sees that I go ahead and take out the Gamma that's in my deck with the Aerial, because I'm going to try and banish some of his stuff. Get Construct out. So he goes ahead and uses the Imperm so I don't send anything else. So he does take damage because Construct was negated. So keep in mind I have this Droplets face down, and he just top decked something really amazing, which was the Red Ice Insight. And he still had 1 Red Ice Fusion in his deck. So he unfortunately did have the Red Ice from the beginning of the game. So he makes Dragoon and tries to use the effect, but I did have to drop it. So because he doesn't have any cards in hand, I just go ahead and do the following. I go ahead and Droplets the... That's discard, sorry. I go ahead and use Droplets to go ahead and negate the Dragoon. And I get back my Shaddoll Fusion. So I go ahead and get back the Shaddoll Fusion. I took 15 from the attack, and pretty much it was going to depend on my top deck. And thankfully, I drew the Ecclesia, which means that I was able to go ahead and get rid of that extra Gamma that I had with the Beast. I sent Schism to the grave because I don't need it at this point. Get the Ecclesia, and because I still have Fleur de Lis, I was going to be able to negate the Dragoon and just go for game. So here we have Dinos. This was round 5. So here, as you can see, he has the Drone Lock, which really threw me off in another match against Dinos. So Ash the Overreactor, and unfortunately for him, he doesn't have anything else. So I go ahead and get the A-lister. I go ahead, and because I'm under draw, I didn't want to just go ahead and use the Invocation in hand. But because he did use that draw, I go ahead and normal summon the A-lister. Can't search, but I go ahead and link into Amirage. Make Raijin. And I get the A-lister back in hand. I don't go for Dragoon here because I sided out. When I was playing If I was playing second, I cited out the Dragoon package because I would rather have those 3 spaces for hand traps. So here then I make Gardener. Set the Oviraptor so Gardener can run over it and then decision for 22. Set an Imperm, but I don't set the Schism because I don't have any targets yet. So here he just T-sets, which is great news for me. So I go ahead, draw the Shaddoll Fusion, so I go ahead and get A-Lister, but it gets Impermed unfortunately. But I go ahead and chain Raijin so I can still get the search because it's face down, it's no longer valid for the Imperm. Use Invocation, make Purgatrio, get the A-Lister back in hand, and game from there. So here we're against Dragon Link for the next round. This was round, if I remember correct. Yes, this was round 6, if I remember correctly. So this was 60 cards with Unexpected Die, and I was really surprised when he played this with and he was using 100 Dragon out of all cards because I wasn't even remembering about this card. So here he goes for Unexpected Die, gets the Galaxy Serpent out, links off into the Striker Dragon, gets the boost at the launch, normal summons the Black Metal Dragon, makes Romulus. I go ahead and Imperm that. After resolution, I go ahead and just Lancia. Goes into boots at the launch. Mixing Cross goes for the Magna Rocket Dragon. And here he makes Buster, and because I have Dropless Infusion, it was pretty much almost a GG. So he tries to go ahead and negate with Buster. I use Droplets to go ahead and chain, pushing the same Shaddoll Fusion to get rid of the negate, allowing it to go through. Make Construct, send Dragon in and set a Beast. I get rid of the Steel Spell, then I go ahead, send Apkalone, get the Ecclesia, get the Schism, send the Squamata, and I go for Aerial to go ahead and get rid of his monsters. So they knew he had a red MD. So I go ahead and get rid of Savage Dragon with the Construct, and I attack Link Cross with the Ecclesia, and I'm left with Schism and Punishment. So it's not the best situation for him, but it is possible with Dragon Link to make it work. Fortunately for him, he draws a Driver. As soon as he normal summons, I go ahead and Schism, getting rid of it, putting Wind on board, and he would have to commit a special summon to have any kind of protection for next turn. So I draw Imperm, flip over Beast, draw Meltdown, get rid of the Imperm because I'm going to go for a game this turn. So he was saying something to me about I can't use my Field Engraver, but I decided to just go ahead and go for it anyway, just showing him I still had game on board. Make Construct at the 1D, he was saying Hedgehog. I'm gonna summon in this, get my search, go into the A-Lister Link, get my fusion back, and just continue. I would have gotten another one, but there was enough damage on board already. And sorry if this is taking such a long time, guys. So, this last replay is from my round 7, which unfortunately I did lose all the both matches on day 2. So this is just so you can see that I am a person that I can admit to my mistakes. Where I should have done a play and I didn't because I was afraid to overextend, but it would have been better if I extended even more. So starting off, he goes first. I don't have anything apart from droplets, unfortunately. So here he's just going off into combo. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fast forward this because he goes into full combo with no interruptions. So here he rips out the droplet from my hand. And so I draw the invocation, so normal summon, he doesn't negate it, which I really hoped he did. So I'm trying to go ahead and bait out something. So I attack into the seal, he goes ahead and bounces back his own War Legacy Guard Dragon. Go ahead and try to use Invocation, gets negated. Try using another Invocation, negate with Herald, but that gives me Shaddoll Fusion to go ahead and try and use from deck. Thinking about it, I probably should have gone for a Winda to prevent him from comboing off without getting rid of his battle phase. But when I drew the Ecclesia and he drilled me, I pretty much knew that I messed up, and I probably would have had a better chance to just let him combo off again, try and let him combo off again with 2 cards in his extra deck left. So because of me not going to Winda, and I could have summoned the Ecclesia for added defense, but I decided against it. That is what pretty much got me to where I'm at now. So here he just goes ahead and summons Wyver Burster, links him off into Union Carry, gets the red MD, and he just puts so much damage on board going into Levianeer. Pops both cards. I get rid of the Hockey Fibrax, but it really doesn't matter because he had enough damage on board even without the Levianeer attack. So, anyways, like I promised. So here's the deck profile, guys. So I was playing in my main deck 3 A-lister, and this is just going to be in alphabetical order for dueling book's sake. 3 A-lister, main starter of the deck, 3 Ash Blossom. In my opinion, Ash Blossom and Imperm are 2 best hand traps in the game, so I would max out on them. 3 Ecclesia, want to max out on this card as well as an emergency starter, but this is more of an extender if anything. Same thing with the Fleur de Lis. 1 Aerial, 2 Wendy, 1 Beast, 1 Dragon, 1 Hedgehog, and 1 Skomata for the Shaddolls. And of course, the 2 Vanillas for the Dragoon. For spells, we got 1 Foolish Burial, 2 Invocation, 3 Meltdown. I want to go ahead and explain this ratio real quick. Meltdown is to get to A-lister as fast as possible, but the two Invocation is that I don't want to draw too many fusions. I've tried to go ahead and put more fusions in the deck before, and it just bricked, so I would rather keep it to a minimum, especially when you have so many searchers. Speaking of searchers, we got 3 Nadir Servant, probably one of the best extenders or stars depending on whatever your hand is. But this can be both, so no matter what happens, if you draw this card, something's good happening for you. Of course, the 1 Red Eyes Fusion, 3 Shaddoll Fusion. Really wish I could play an L, but there's no space if I want to keep this at 40. Next, the 2 Triple Tactics Talent. Honestly speaking, I have this as a just in case card. Alright, just in case, like let's say for example, they want to go ahead and ash me. Okay, I'll go ahead and take your Dragoon, or I'll go ahead and do something. This is mainly just to go ahead and, as a preventative measure, I have a way of still interacting with you or still messing with your board. Or if you try to interact with my board, I can still play. So, as much as it didn't perform as well as I like, I still wouldn't take this card out. But the one card that, out of all my spells, that I could say I had one doubt about is that the Foolish Burial could be, instead of a Call by the Grave, a Monster Reborn, an Upstart Goblin, whatever your preference is. But I prefer Foolish because it still helped me get into my plays with the Shaddoll monsters, or even getting an Alistair Engrave if I have an Invocation in hand. So, to the traps, we have the 1 Punishment, 3 Imperm, the 1 Rush, and the 1 Schism. There is a trick with the Rush that would allow you with just Shaddoll monsters to go ahead and get into the Anaconda Verdict, but you would have to have a specific combination of a Shaddoll fusion, well, any fusion, and that's the Invocation or the Shaddoll fusion, Wendy or Squamata, and an A-lister or any light monster. But with just that combination of a light monster, the Wendy or Squamata or a fusion, you can go ahead and, without using anything else, you can go ahead and make Verte Anaconda with no issues. As for my side deck, MVP was definitely Lancia. This helped me out so much in all my matchups that I've played today. 3 Nibiru, wish I could have seen it in more during my matches, but I only saw this once and I didn't even get a chance to use it. So I may reduce it, but I really think that with Dragon Link being around, 3 is the way to go. Next, the Gamma package. Honestly, one of the better hand traps in the game, but I don't main it because I don't want to draw into bricks. I already have the Dragoon package as it is, so putting the Gammas in there would be too much of a tight fit, so I would rather keep that in the side deck as an option. 2 Droplets. This is mainly my side in for going first. I would take out an Ash and something that I didn't see useful, because I don't want to draw Ash playing first. Well, when I say draw Ash, I mean multiple Ash, so I would rather just draw 1 instead of risking drawing 2. It would still happen occasionally, but it's less likely to happen. Next, for wrapping up our side deck for the day, was the Harpy's Feather Duster and the 2 Lightning Storm. This is the only necessary spell trap removal for the meta, in my opinion, because with almost no one playing back row, it's mostly a monster heavy format. For the extra, 1 App Cologne, 2 Construct, 2 Winda, 1 Int, 1 Nagoides, 1 Mechaba, 1 Purgatrio, 1 Raijin, and 1 Dragoon. Now, the fusion lineup, let me explain. Because I'm running more Shaddolls, I would go ahead and put 2 and 2. If there was a way of putting a third, I would for a construct and window, but space is too tight. Entis is because of punishment and for Nadir Servant. And I'm playing Raijin because it's still an option with the Wendy being there. And Window Raijin is still a pretty good combination, especially if you know your matchups that you're heading to. And people were playing Droll in the event, which really messed with me a lot, but because of that, Raijin was another live target. Next, of course, we have the Dragoon. And for my links, I have A-Lister, which was, every time I made this card, I had game or almost had game on board. One Verite, obviously, and the Amaraj and Gardener package. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, leave a like and subscribe. Really helps me out a lot. And I hope to see you guys again next time. See ya.